Pardon me.
Usually, so they'll say no.
Okay, well, I might not even.
Got it going. It's all
I
good.
might not even touch on
She'll
it
be able
then.
to.
'Cause I don't want to use.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I just had to keep it there because it's charged.
Oh.
I don't want to confuse nobody, so maybe
Okay, you got
I
that.
thought it was something coming up, so, yeah.
Is this like part of the church? Isn't there a church over somewhere?
There is a church over
And
here.
if it is a link there,
That gentleman that was here, he's gonna tell us more about Post Excel. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Because
that's all I was looking.
Those were
Like, where do you go?
offices. Well, Act got one of those is Act, right? People saying all these were bills, but I thought one of those was Act. Any one of those was Act?
This one up back behind
Yeah.
us.
Oh,
They
yeah.
own this one right here. Yeah.
well,
Well,
They're
yeah.
renting, but they own the one on Harrison, right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But they gonna rent a space in here and then Inspire Center, right?
No, I think once we're gonna move into Spire Center, both offices, and then I don't know what the Harrison office they own. But oh yeah, they own that one, and rent this one, but I don't know what Darnell has planned for that building once we move. I was asking about the restorative justice court, but he said no.
Oh wow.
I was like, it's a perfect
Alright.
building.
Well, it might not be a decision to make. I know you
So
ain't saying
I'm gonna go ahead and call our meeting to order right now at 6:15. Before we do, we'd like to take a moment of silence, especially in thought of our co-counselor who cannot be here because she's dealing with personal matters, and my co-counselor that's sitting next to me as well, and for everybody in here as well as outside that may be dealing with something. So we're gonna take a moment of silence for everyone. All right, so we have to take quorum before we can officially start our meeting. And so I'll start. I'm Counselor DeAndre Rudis, I'm present.
Counselor Karen Winters, present.
All right, and with that, we have quorum, so we will begin. So we moved a couple things around today, unfortunately, due to quite a few cancellations that we had, but things happen. So what we will move with first is our public comment section. Right here is a 2-minute opportunity for folks to be able to express any issues that they have in public safety or police accountability. Keep in mind that these are public meetings, as electeds, this goes right into our notes so that we can track any trends or issues going on, as well as we generally report, especially public safety concerns, to our officers that they handle right away. So please use this opportunity to do that if you have any concerns in public safety and police accountability.
I don't know if this really qualifies, but one of the things I've noticed in this community is the lack of enforcement of parking restrictions. So, I don't know if that's safety, but I think somewhere along the line it could, I think about, for example, on Lake Street, there's a bus turnaround that goes to where the buses come up here. And, people just park all over the park, when the bus stop, like, they don't exist,
Wait, Lincoln what? Lake
Austin.
Street. Lincoln, Austin. There's a bus turnaround over there?
It's not a bus turn. What it is no, that's not a turnaround. That's where, the suburban buses, a lot of people walk down the western suburbs. So I think it's like 315 buses, some of those buses. What they go to
I see
like
what you're saying.
Elmhurst and a couple other suburban locations. Right. So, and it used to be enforced, but I think, the post passed, they just don't do anything.
Okay.
As people park on Austin like it does exist, there's no parking on Austin. So I mean, just kind of in general, a lot of residential streets, and one of my neighbors has a special problem with this. People have trucks, and OD license plates, and she's kind of adamant about it. She keeps calling, but they don't do anything. So, and I noticed just kind of walking the neighborhood that it's just a prevalence of trucks, which are commercial vehicles, which should not be on residential streets. But
I know somebody. I went to the 28th ward meeting last Saturday, and someone else talked about that, about the lack of enforcement when it comes, especially to permit parking areas. And I can't remember who the alderman said, how they say they were gonna follow up. I can't remember, but I do remember the gentleman was saying he was calling 911 and they was like, please don't call 911 for parking enforcement.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe it is an issue to take up with the alderman, cause I had that problem on Leamington. It was like they had, a trucking company over there, like, but theirs was like they had a lot of tow trucks over there and they were
I see it, I
bringing,
just come out to work, 'cause I do a lot of walking.
yeah, they were bringing abandoned vehicles and things over here, but I did talk to Jason Irvin about it, so it has lightened up. I don't know if they went over there, I don't know what they did, but it was the same thing.
Right, I mean, lady, I know she complains, like, I think she lives like close to be good, and it's the same kind of thing, like a truck company and a large truck. But then I think what I find on a lot of residential streets, and I realize that, you know, small businesses struggle, you know, but, you know, a small business is a business, and those trucks should not be on the street, you know, you need to find a place to park your
Yeah.
small business truck, you know, because it is a truck, and it does have that, they have those B license plates, whether it's a truck with a B license plate, and I think B stands for commercial and non-residential, and not to be on a, residential street, you know, and whether it's a truck, whether it's a van, whether it's a trailer pitched to your, you know, those just the kind of things, and like I said, I know one of them, it kind of really bothers her, but then I realize as I kind of walk through the neighborhood, it's pretty prevalent, you know.
Yeah,
That's my block. Right now.
Now, we have permit
Big
people
problem.
parking on our block too, but we call 911 and they'll come. And,
They ticket or they ticket?
well, I think that we should call the non-emergency
It's
number,
a,
cause when you call the emergency number, it's kind of tied
that's
up.
who they told us to call.
No,
Right,
no,
yeah.
the commander said you should not call 911 for parking issues because then it ties up 911 for emergencies. And then that's why people are saying that they're not responding to the 911 calls because they're all doing parking enforcement. But maybe that's, we need to check in with
But
the
if we don't call
commander,
911, who should we call?
the non-emergency number.
311.
Yeah.
He said,
What a-
yeah. We go
So
to
we
the,
can talk to the
we go to
commander.
the meetings and they, yeah.
The beat meetings always say you call 911?
No,
Okay,
that's not
good.
what the commander got told.
They told us too, but they said like later in the evening, after 8, 9 o'clock, they would come over. So they told us 911 was okay.
Wait, who told you, the B facilitator or the police? Who said call 911?
The police came and we said we have this, because we have the business on the block. I said, well, we have this issue every day. He have all his cars, no license plates on, no tags on anything. So what should we do? Say it's okay for you all to call us. It just have to be like later in the evening because they deal with so much during the day. So
Mm.
this was actual police,
Okay.
2 of them.
Okay, well, I'm just repeating what the commander said at the ward meeting.
Okay.
He was encouraging people. Now, it could be a parking emergency if there's some if there's some things happening.
Right.
In addition to.
Right,
But
but
they
yeah.
were saying to call non-emergency.
Mhm.
But we will bring that up to the commander, and maybe they need to put an alert or bulletin out or
Right.
something, so community members can know what to do when there are those parking issues. Okay, thank you all for that.
So, I'm sorry, you walked in where we were having our public comment section. No, you're fine. But what that means is if you have any issues that you'd like to bring up in public safety and or police accountability, this is an opportunity to do so.
Oh, okay.
So, as you were stepping in, we were sharing issues about the parking enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's something else that you would like to share, that's fine as well.
No, that's it. That's the main thing right there. So that's why I wanted to make sure we came over because it's such a big problem on our block. Till I didn't know if that was going to be a topic of discussion, but I see that it is. So we're just trying to see what can we do to kind of remedy that situation. I mean, my block, like I stay on the next block over on Superior, and the Colway building started housing a lot of people. I don't know the immigrants. I don't even know who they are, but they have more cars. They can't park down in front of their building because the business across the street is taking that up. So that means they got to come down and take our parks. So it's been a whole issue. As far as our block in general, we don't have those many issues. So I can say thank God for that. But like I said, parking's been our big issue. We don't know how to solve that issue.
Everybody
What-
has to go.
what-
Police say,
what 100 block
we
is
don't
this?
do tickets.
48.
48.
But the point is that it's prevalent throughout this community.
For sure,
That
for
is,
sure,
you
for
know,
sure,
that's
yeah.
the thing, cause Live Block is not perfect parking, but that's still an issue. You know, where people who have trucks, and the thing is that what's most bothersome is that, you know, it's a small business. And so they have 2 or 3 trucks, but then you
Yeah.
have private cars too, so, you
Yeah.
know, you got the trucks parking on the street, you
Yeah.
got the cars parking on the street, you
Yes.
know. My neighbor got into it with him, cause, you know, he put the trailer behind his truck and it's like 5 inches from the
Yeah,
side.
yeah, it's an
You know,
issue, it's an
and
issue.
Right, and it's almost, I don't think you can walk down a block in this 20 wheel between, certainly between Chicago Avenue and Quality Avenue, so you would see at least 1 or 2 pickup trucks parked on the street.
Yeah.
You know.
And I went to Emma Mitts in regards to that, to her office, just to ask if there's anything to be done, or if that's a legal thing for them to do, and they was like, absolutely not. I went down there a couple of times trying to have a civil conversation. Sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not. So we called the police, they ticketed all of the cars that didn't have license plates and things like that, so they did come and do that. And then they gave us just a little bit more information to say, call during off-peak hours, I'm gonna say that. And so I was like, okay, we have cars on our block right now that has maybe 3, 4, 5 tickets on it right now. So I thought the process was, once you ticket so many times, now somebody will come around and tow them.
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened either. So I don't know what we need to do in regards to that, because that's parking that someone is to be utilizing, and it's not legal for them to be there.
At this point, call the city, they need some money.
Right.
Yeah, come grab
Hey,
this,
they
please.
came on the block and booted all them cars that one day last week. I'm like, come back and tow these other cars. So,
Listen,
I mean, if you just missing a plate stick or something, okay, fine. But if you abandon your car, you said after 7 days it's considered abandoned, and then you're gonna tow it. It's been 2 weeks since that car been ticketed off.
Yeah, we'll bring that to the commander's attention, but that definitely sounds like,
Thank you.
any other comments would like to be shared? Concerns at all? No? Okay, copy that. Then we will move to the next section of our agenda, which is the approval of our minutes from last month. Unfortunately, we did not get those printed off in time, so we will have to table that for the next meeting, which takes place 10/10. So I make, well,
I make a motion that we will, approve the minutes at our next, monthly district council meeting.
I second the motion.
Motion second.
Motion approved, so again, we will read off the minutes from last month's meeting in our upcoming meeting.
And if you ever wanna read the minutes, they do post them online,
Yeah.
right? So
See
if you
the
go to our
website.
the district council, website.
What's
you
the
can click
website?
CCPSA, and then you, like, find district council, and then when you go to district council, you click your, district, like, this is District 15. And then, our agendas are there, our, meeting minutes are there, our videos there?
No,
Okay, well, our meeting minutes and, the agendas are posted there. So, and we're working on creating a mailing, doing a postcard, we need to do a mass mailing, and it'll have our information on there, cause we supposed to schedule our meetings out for the year, as well as the information where you could, cause people are still trying to figure out who we are, what it kind of.
I'm one of them. I'm like, last month, how long y'all been here?
A year, a little bit over a year, but I'm gonna say this, I'm not gonna blame us, I'm gonna blame the city and put it on record. They have done a poor job at marketing us, they have done a poor job at giving us a platform, and so now we're still trying to figure out ways to get, to the larger community. We in 15, we move our meetings around. Most of the districts have their meetings in a stationary place. We have been very conscientious about moving ours around in the hope too get communities to know who we are and what we're doing. So that's one thing we plan on, as a matter of fact, I have a meeting with Oswaldo tomorrow to bring postcards, and we're gonna do a mass mailing to everyone in the 15th district, so they would know who we are, how to find us, when our meetings are, and yeah, our contact information. So we plan to get those out before, and our meeting dates, we plan to get those out hopefully, I don't know how long the turnaround will be, but hopefully by October, early November.
Right, and you can also check their meeting dates on that website. On the
Oh,
city-
it shows that too?
Yeah, it's the city
Yeah.
website.
Yeah,
And it shows like locations where you all gonna be on that?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Old city website is kind of difficult to do, it's so complicated. You ever go in there and try to find a meeting,
Okay, thank you.
give it a shot. Tell me what I'm looking at.
CPP website.
Right.
Yeah, it's CCTSA for us. But still, sometimes it can be,
Difficult,
streamlining is always best.
yeah.
There's that. Okay, all right, so our next meeting agenda topic is district councilor member updates. Start.
Okay, so I have, quite a few updates. So, as y'all, I was explaining to someone earlier that as district,
I'm sorry, introduce yourself in the position, because she's new, so.
I know that's what I was
Okay,
gonna
I'm
say,
sorry.
I was saying, so we each of the 22 police districts have 3 elected district councils, and each one of us have a different role. Like DeAndre is our community organizer, so he is the one that finds us spaces, finds our speakers, goes out and canvas around the community. Before our meeting, Carmelita Earls, who is absent tonight, she is our chairperson, so she handles a lot of our administrative things. And then I am the nominator, and so I was responsible, along with the 21 other nominators in the districts, to come up with a list of community commissioners that went to the mayor, which the mayor appointed, 7 of those. And so how I explain it is the district council piece is like the outward facing, like we're the ones who engage with community members. And the community commission is like the internal piece. They work more along with the city and CPD, so they're responsible for, they can draft policies, and they also have monthly meetings, and they're responsible for, they can draft policies, they can review policies, they can give a vote of no confidence to the superintendent. They can also terminate. They can also terminate the head of COPA, the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, as well as the police board president. And so they have a different set of powers, but we both make up the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability. And so as a nominator, we gave our list to the mayor. The mayor picked 7, and then there was probably one of the appointments. One of our youth commissioners, Angel Luby Navarro. I may be pronouncing his name wrong. He was our youth commissioner from the north side, but he was passed through city council, I believe on Tuesday.
Yep.
Tuesday, so now we have a full board of 7, so the commissioners, we have 2 from the south side, 2 from the north side, 2 from the west side, and 1 is what they consider like a citywide. We have 2 youth commissioners, we have 2 attorneys, but, so it's 7 now, we have our 7. However, one of our commissioners is resigning, Kelly Presley, and she is the West Side Commissioner, and she is also one of the attorneys, and she is resigning on October 31st. And so now we will have to find a replacement, and it will be, or should be, another attorney from the West Side. So if you know of any attorneys that may be interested, they should have 10 years civil, don't let me civil, community engagement. Well, the qualifications are online too, but we have to find another commissioner
And
from
would
West Side.
would have had to practice law for more than 10 years? That's what you- okay.
Yeah.
I don't say there's no particular law, right?
Practice for 10 years. What is it?
There's no particular law,
think so, but somebody recently asked me, did they have to have civil? And I was like, I don't think they had to have civil, but I know they want them to have like community engagement and, some understanding of police reform in their background. So that'll be our next undertaking that we'll have to start looking for another, and it was a long, arduous process, but we have to do it because the commission has to, that is in the ordinance that we have to have that 7-member body. So there is a nominated meeting this Saturday. Unfortunately, I will not be here, but I will get information and share it with you all at the next, at next month's meeting. The other thing I want to talk about is, so one of the things per the ordinance is that we're supposed to work on initiatives around like community engagement and accountability with the police department. So right now, they have district counselors working on proposals, and these proposals, we have to vote on the proposals once they're put forward, and these are things that we will be able to do unilaterally across all the districts, and that's beautiful and that's fine. But what I'm trying to impress upon them is we're supposed to be creating initiatives, and to me, initiatives are district specific because each district is going to have different concerns, different things happening, different responses, especially in 15 or on the Greater West Side. And so one of the things that we worked on earlier with community members was an initiative called AIM, which is Accountability Improvement Methods. But one of and the biggest part that came out of that is when we talked about having a mediation program for community members, where when there are small infractions with police, that community members will be able to call upon this mediation body, and we will be able to help bring some resolve. So these things just aren't left open-ended, so everybody not walking around, police mad at community, community mad at police. And I know COPA does have something, but a lot of times they are backlogged with cases, or either they're cases that may not warrant COPA's intervention. And so we figured if we put our own mediation piece together, that this would be something that we can handle amongst ourselves. And so one of the things DeAndre mentioned was us forming a tribunal. And another part that we're supposed to do is restorative justice, which is essentially mediation. So we're gonna have to kind of pivot a little bit and see how we can tie the restorative justice and mediation piece together, and we can make it specifically for 15. It shouldn't have to be us putting a proposal for it. It should be what the ordinance called for, and that's for us to create the initiative. And then we gotta find a way where we can do it without having to go through so much red tape, where it's not a matter of the department needing to form a general order, because all this is trial and error, because this has never been done before. This is new in the country. It's the first time in the country anything like this has ever been done. So we're gonna work on that and see how we can make that happen for 15. But I think that could cover a lot of things. It could cover accountability. It could cover officer wellness. It could cover community engagement. And so we're gonna build that piece out and see how we can make that happen for 15. Then the other thing, I'm gonna skip over the CPP budget because I thought it was a town hall meeting coming up next month, and it was the wrong date. That was from last year. But I also want to say though, one of the things that we asked for, there are times when the police department puts their policies up for public comment, but currently we don't necessarily know when they do that. And so what should happen is they should communicate that with CCPSA. CCPSA should communicate that with district counselors, so when they come up, we can let community members know. Like they did one around the foot pursuit policy, they did one around police working with people with disabilities, they did one around police officers and youth engagement. But a lot of times community members don't know they're there, and I thought they were up for 30 days, and somebody said they're really up for 14 days. But we have to do better about knowing when it is, because that is an opportunity for community members to give input. Under the consent decree, this is a requirement that they have to get community input when they are drafting their policies. And so that's something that we are going to work on and get on top of that. And then the next thing, and we're gonna go into a conversation about this, so I'm just gonna say ShotSpotter. And since our guest isn't here tonight, we're gonna talk a bit about ShotSpotter. I know y'all done heard about it. It's been all over the news in City Council passed yesterday, I believe. Now I'm gonna do there are open seats on the police council, the Chicago Police Board. I print stuff at work when I shouldn't. So I'm gonna put this on the table, so before y'all leave, if you wanna take a picture of it, you may not be interested, but share it with someone. So right now, Chicago may be only one of the only cities in the country that has as much community oversight. The consent decree is essentially, it's federal, but the community is involved. We have COPA, which is Civilian Office of Police Accountability. We have CCPSA, which has the Community Commission and the district counselors, and we have a community seated police board. And so that's important. So I'm gonna put this out so y'all can take pictures and share it. Another community announcement at Build. They have a county fair coming up on Friday, September 20th, from 5 to 8. And y'all know Build is 5100 West Madison Street. I'm gonna put that out to make a copy. And then on this Saturday, September 21st, starting at 8:30 a.m., it's the Austin 5K. They're always looking for volunteers. They're always looking for communities to come out and cheer them on. I believe someone said this is their 9th year. Don't quote me on that. It's the 9th year, and each year it's getting bigger and better. And so I'm gonna put this one out also. It has QR codes on it. If you want to take that one and get more information, take a photo of it. Then on September 24th, Build is also having a movie night called The Long Shadow. It says that The Long Shadow follows former CNN senior producer and Emmy Award-winning director Frances Causey as she traces her family's legacy of white privilege, exposing her own family's history of slaveholding and how the institution of slavery continues to have an impact today. This film is both brave and incredible, a must-see over and over again, and that's going to be at Build Tuesday, September 24th, from 4 to 6:30 p.m. Another event at Build, but this is also my day job. I'm a community organizer with Austin, coming together on September 26th. We're going to do a gun education and awareness community conversation and collaboration with Appleseed and Stick Talk. And the reason we are starting to have these conversations around gun awareness is because we are also in conversations about getting a restorative justice community court in Austin. And from other courts, most of the cases of the young people that they are gun-related cases. They're first-time gun offenders, and the purpose of the court is to, one, keep them out of the prison system, and two, create resources like wraparound care for them. So that's coming up on the 27th, and then we're going to follow that with the workshop by Your Edition and Al Stinson called "This Is Your Brain on Guns," and we're really encouraging folks to get young people out. Whether we think they are shooters or potential shooters, because we never really know, because they're getting younger and younger. People are getting carjacked by 9-year-olds with guns, and so we have to start having these conversations and bringing these young people into the rooms, because they may not be the one, but they may know someone who is the one. So if we give them the right information, they could share that, and hopefully that could possibly save someone's life. And then I think this is the last, no, not the last one. Malcolm X College is having a social justice conference on September 26th and 27th. There's also a QR code here, so I'll set it out. It says, join us for the first annual social justice conference. They will share perspectives on social justice, how it impacts the college and community. It will feature visual, interactive, and performance art that illuminates critical cultural and societal issues. And I was in a meeting, and they said they have phenomenal swag bags. I think for like the first 100 people or so. Don't quote me on that, but I know they said they're gonna have some phenomenal swag bags and some good food. And I think this, no, it's not even the last one. And another film showing, this is, what is this? This is with Austin Eats and Bethel New Life. It's a chef showcase and movie night. This movie is called They're Trying to Kill Us. And so that's Wednesday, October 2nd from 5:30 to 9 p.m. at Bethel New Life, which is at 1150 North Lamont Avenue. And there's also a QR code. I love QR codes. And then I think this is the last one. So, for any community members that may be interested in working with us around building this tribunal out, we would like for folks to have restorative justice training. And then we will collectively work on the mediation training. And we do have Marcia Thompson Esquire, who has offered to do that mediation training with Austin Community for free. Marcia Thompson Esquire is an attorney, but she was also a consultant for the city, and she was the one that worked around the initial mediation program that ended up with the Center for Conflict Resolution. The city did a pilot with them over 6 months, but over that 6 month time, I think they only handled 6 cases. And we still didn't get information on who are the cases, what was the outcome of the cases. And again, if we're doing these things, and I think too, community members probably didn't want to go downtown, and then the mediators, did not look like us. And so we think all of that is relevant, and so we're gonna do those trainings. So Bill has 2 restorative justice trainings coming up, one on October 21st. It's a 4-day training, and then another one, the 21st through the 24th, and then another training November 18th through the 21st from 6:30 to 9. And this will give you the facilitation training needed to be a restorative justice practitioner. Yes.
So, I have a couple things to say about what you're saying. You want to finish first?
I think that was my last community announcement. Oh no, listen, I got to do I left Maria to that.
Okay, whether NAACP attempted to do a community court, we actually called it that. I said the NAACP attempted to do a community court. We tried to do it a couple of years ago. We had the hardest time in the world not only getting word out to let people know that it existed, but also just getting anybody to want to do it. We had in our minds a little less, not with criminal activities, but if the idea was if you having some kind of dispute over a link card that might come to blows, come to this court and have this conversation there and let us settle it for you so that it doesn't become an issue that ends up becoming criminal. And it was geared mostly at kids and youth. We could not get that thing off the ground. So my question to you is, do you have a model about how you know it's gonna work? And especially after you hearing me saying that Marcy, who was being funded by the city, that was under the Lightfoot administration, right? She was under Lightfoot, right?
Wait, that's 2 different things. The mediation, yes, but that was for the mediation piece with the Center for Conflict Resolution. And then I was talking about the restorative justice community court. They're 2 different things.
But it's the same kind of mediation, right?
Yes and no. The center for the mediation program that Marcia kind of implemented was for police misconduct, only for police misconduct. The community court mediation will be for
Between 2 people.
folks who have harmed someone and the person that they've harmed.
I only say that to say I just think I wonder if people want it. That's what I'm thinking that. Is that it seems like, other than just the difficulty of getting it out, because I'm sure somebody out there does want it, but do you have a method? He hear me talking, he want to compete.
For sure.
Do we have a method for getting that out so that it can be a productive, a conducive program? Because I believe that something like that is needed in the community for sure. But do we have a way of getting people in
For which one? For the
community
Court.
court?
the restorative justice community court,
The one that you have in
the tribunal. We still have we just brainstorming it right now, but I think with the number of incidents that people, or encounters that people may have with the police, and the work that we're supposed to be doing, I think we'd be doing ourselves a disservice if we didn't try on some level. And so we will have to start engaging community around that, you know, because we can't put it together, just us. We have to put this together with community. So I think if we really build it out right and they understand the true meaning behind it, because one of the things that we're supposed to be doing is building relationships, and we can't build those relationships as long as there are a lot of hard relationships that people typically have. Because even with all this work, police officers are still showing up to be disrespectful, you know, to be causing harm, as well as, you know, who knows what else. So I think if we put it out there the right way, I'm hoping that the community, this is something that the community wants. And again, everything is trial and error. So I think if we give it a try and see what happens and what can come out of it, it would be beneficial, and it could help us meet some of the benchmarks that we were created to do.
So I'm trying to have a question. Wasn't there some kind of program like that at the police, at the 15th district? I don't know if it was all police stations. There was some kind of report thing.
So they do court advocacy, maybe what you're thinking of, which is bringing citizens from the community to the court process so that we can have support to put criminals away. And what they do is they typically bring, so let's say you're in the 15th district, they won't have you in court for 15 district related issues, but they'll have you in, like, whether it's 10th district or 11th district, just so that there is community support there.
Some kind of thing. I just can't remember what it
It's
was.
court advocacy is what they
But,
call it.
and that's different also.
Yeah, that's
And then
different.
so then I guess my other question is, you know, I hear a lot about restorative justice, because I'm really still trying to fully understand it. But then I guess I'm wondering, had there been any studies to show that restorative justice is effective?
I can't say offhand, but I'm sure, because it's not just in Chicago. Restorative justice courts are all over the country. And I guess we're doing our due diligence by finding that information out. But yeah,
Is it just saying, I mean, you know, is it, how new is, I mean, I hear a lot about it lately, but it seems to me to be a kind of, and it may not be, kind of a relatively concept.
It is. I'll also say this. There's 3 restorative justice courts right now. We have Avalon, one in Lawndale, yeah,
South Village.
and South
And
Village,
Inglewood.
and Inglewood.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing. We don't know how well they're performing, though, to be completely honest with you. So there are 3, at least in the city of Chicago, that are currently in operation, but we don't know how well they're doing. So with that, because you posed the question, do due diligence to go look and see how successful is it faring, and how they're getting people out, and if it even.
Sometimes I say, just like with this organization as it is, sometimes you just gotta try stuff.
That's a
And
fact.
you can waste a lot of time trying to figure out if it's gonna work. Time you could have been spending putting it in order.
Yeah.
I wasn't coming to be contrary. I was just coming to say, we tried it, we failed miserably. We had to turn it into a mediation, education thing for students in school.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be able to expend the money that we had
Yeah.
to fund the program. And that had its own level of success, but it would have been so much better if we could have done
Yeah, that
what
worked though.
we had
Yeah.
planned to do.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this too. This is the last point I'm gonna make. So, like you said, there are Lawndale, Avondale, Inglewood, and now South Village. And Judge Evans, who is over all of the restorative justice courts, is planning to open 3 courts next year. So they have to be doing something in order for them to, you know, wanna continue putting money behind the courts. We just don't know where he's planning to open those courts, and to my understanding, he's planning to do them in other townships outside of Chicago. And so that's why we wanna, you know, so there was a proposal for a Austin Restorative Justice Court, and they say it's still sitting on his desk. But if we have some of the most violent areas in the city of Chicago, especially with young people, you can't tell me that that does not warrant Austin having a court, even if it is a trial, just to see, you know, what can happen with it. But I think it also gives us an opportunity to see where the other courts may be failing or lacking, and give us the opportunity to build that piece out so we can kind of get around those pitfalls. But yeah, so I'm sorry, I hope I didn't. Yeah.
I'll also add that, you know, during our press conference we did during the DNC, as a result of the shootings that were taking place during the DNC, we did, you know, at least use our voice to elevate the fact that Austin should have a restorative justice court. What impact that makes, you know, is yet to be seen, but hopefully, you know, that means something that, you know, us as elected officials are asking for it on behalf of the community. So we'll see how that goes. Did you have anything else?
No, that was it. And like I said, I'm gonna put these out so everybody can take pictures or get those QR codes.
All right, so again, my name is DeAndre Rudis. I am our community engagement specialist, so I'm tasked with trying to make sure that the community is aware of who we are. One of the reasons why we move these meetings around is because at every meeting we at least get 1 or 2 new people, which is better than we had before. So we don't concentrate them in one location. So the reason why you saw it, hopefully, is because you had the flyer on your door. That was him and I. You know, so we do that every meeting that we have in the area. We flyer 2 to 3 blocks, depending on, you know, how much time we have available. We also have, well, at least I'm more social media active than my colleagues, but I'm always put it on social media. And we also, once you connect with us, you'll get an email as well. So, you know, slow and steady, you know. We would like more people to come out, but at the end of the day, you know, getting some is some. It's a win for us. That stated, I handle things like, so we have a newsletter over there somewhere. Can I see a newsletter? A couple things on that I wanted to highlight. So after every meeting, we do have a newsletter that comes out. This newsletter essentially just gives you the information from our meeting, you know, just bites, if you will. I record every meeting as well. If you were to put the little tiny URL chat here, you'll go directly to the channel in which all of our meetings are contained. I also have some surveys. One is a public safety survey, and one is a contact us survey. So during the public comment section, some folks don't like to express themselves. Generally, we have officers present. If not, then you can always just contact us, tell us your issue. It will always remain anonymous because it goes directly to me. I'm the only one that houses this. Same thing with the public safety survey. This is just a measure so that we can track and see how well we're doing over time. So we created this as soon as we started a year ago, and we're still looking for folks to continue to take the survey so we can continue to monitor our own progress as it relates to influence and change in the community. So that's a couple things. Additionally, with the little handout I gave you there, we add a couple things that could be helpful. There is a resource list. It's a Google Drive in which I compile all of the challenges in the community, if you will, the resources to address the challenges. So in the past, they've talked about trespassing. So you'll find a trespass affidavit. They've talked about noise being an issue. You'll find a noise ordinance, things about what you can do. Because we talked about parking, I will upload a document related to parking, so you'll be able to find all of those things in there. Additionally, you'll be able to find every newsletter that we have in there, and that's a QR code there. And on 8/15, we had a Know Your Rights. We do quarterly Know Your Rights. We had one that focused on cannabis. The only reason I'm bringing that up is because today I saw that the Supreme Court has ruled that if an officer smells burnt marijuana, they can not, that is not reason for a search and seizure. So I saw that today, I just thought that was important. We did have a Know Your Rights to inform folks on the new laws that changed, and subsequently that is a new law that just changed. You guys missed our 9/11 training. We, moving forward, every 9/11 to coincide with the emergency response number, we will have a training. The last one we had was about gunshot response. Members were able to take home trauma kits, if you will, so it had tourniquets, bandages and everything in case you come across someone that is a shooting victim. But moving forward, every 9/11 we will have a different training geared towards educating the community in emergency response. Next thing is our next Know Your Rights will be on October 24th. That is a Thursday at 6 p.m. That'll be at 5820 West Division. This one will focus on reasonable articulable suspicion. That is essentially probable cause. So I have the ACLU coming out. They're actually going to speak a little bit about the comment section in these general ordinances that go out that community can comment on. So they're going to break down the ordinance that focused on pretextual stops. That is essentially when you are driving in your vehicle and you have a missing tail light or headlight or something hanging from the window, and then the officers stop you and then they want to search your vehicle because of those things. So they're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to have Mark Buslick, former commander. He's going to talk about it from a policing perspective, what they're looking for or expectation in that particular situation. And he will also, as an academic, focus on the law that created reasonable articulable suspicion. And then we will have First Defense Legal Aid, who will be the group that talks about what you can do when you're stopped. So that will take place once again, 1024, 6 p.m., 5820 West Division. And that is a joint event between the 15th and 25th district. So it's right on the borderline of our districts. The other thing is we have a district council quarterly coming up sometime toward the end of this month of September. When we have these are essentially where all the district councilors from across the city get together and talk about the trends in public safety and police accountability. So again, when you're in these sessions and then we have public comment, whatever you're stating, we share with the entire group so that we can make changes with the commission in mind as it relates to the way that we are policed and the way our communities are serviced. And the very last thing that I will mention is because we are moving into fall, winter, I want to bring this back up. I haven't spoke about it in quite a while, but listening sessions, or listening tours, I call them. These are opportunities so you can connect with the district council so that, again, if you have any concerns and you don't want to voice them in our meetings, you can talk directly with us. Everything is kept in-house. Again, I just share, I don't even share address, I just share the street where the situation is happening, if that is okay with the person in mind. But regardless, we have these listening sessions where the community can gather around, learn a little bit about us in this position, as well as whatever, express whatever their issues are. So with that is all I have for updates. And so we're gonna move to the next part of the agenda, which is to highlight a community organization. So we have what we call an organizational spotlight, where we look at some of the smaller organizations in our community that's doing some mighty work. And the organization that we're sitting in now is the representative for tonight. And so I'm gonna go get the gentleman, because I think he was sitting in his car, and ask him to come in.
We didn't even hear what we're talking about.
You came in, so this all the stuff up here, I didn't have copies, so I was just saying at the end of the meeting, people can take pictures or scan the QR codes. These all events coming up in Austin in the next couple of weeks.
I wonder is it I wonder is this in or was it just the battery being drained fast and in the charge?
Did it
I
end?
can make these.
Nah,
That's
it didn't end yet.
If it,
I got mine set up already.
I'll bet.
Soon as it-
Okay. Alright, cool. That one just put together. Okay, we're just gonna let them, take a look at some of these events and activities coming up.
Hey, how you doing? Oh man, I want to be a kid and go to feed the baby. I'm like, come on, man. I'm ready for another one. Like, I just want one more. Ready
And this,
too.
we got nachos and stuff like that.
Man, listen, she broke up with me. I've been seeing since February. I told her we got another year, we got till February to get back together. Man, look.
Where is Bill? What's the address?
500,
You said 55?
51.
5100.
Right on the corner of Harrison
Laramie
and
and
Larry.
Harrison, right on the corner, big building. Laramie and Harrison, right out the way.
Okay. Oh, cause you know why? Cause you said Madison, so I was like, yeah. Oh, well, yeah, I know what this is then.
So this, Mr. Stevens.
Yeah, I know what this is, but if you said Madison, I'm like, what? Okay, gotcha.
Alright, brother, you wanna go ahead and tell us a little bit about, Hope CDC? Hope Excel CDC, I'm sorry.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eugene Jennings. I am the site coordinator for the Austin Community Healing Resource Center, which resides here in Excel CDC, Excel Community Development Corps. And what it is that we do here, we provide trauma-informed care for those individuals who have been, well, individuals and families that have been directly or indirectly impacted with gun violence. That is our main focus, but in actuality, we provide trauma-informed care for any type of trauma that you may experience. And I myself pride myself on talking with the young men, because a lot of the young men were taught and grew up believing that, suck it up, pull yourself together, don't cry, don't show any emotion. And we try to stress them that is probably the most worst thing to tell them, because it's going to come out eventually. All that built-in trauma builds up, it comes out. So we try to let them know that it is okay not to be okay, and you can talk to someone.
Right.
Those feelings will come out sometime at the wrong time and in the wrong way. So we provide them a safe place, someone who's trained to talk to and help them get over it and learn to address those feelings that they have and how to face them and how to manage them. Our services are, we do use insurance to provide them with trauma-informed care. We give them the counselors that they need. We provide insurance or helping them to acquire insurance if they don't have it. If they do not and cannot get the insurance, no one will go unseen. We'll still find a way to find someone who has insurance. Along with that, we do have other resources that we funnel through here throughout the year. So, Build is one that we actually use quite a bit for our young youth. But there are so many resources that are available here in the Austin area.
Yeah.
And our people out there just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So we pride ourselves on trying to help those who need the resources to find them, and they help them us.
Can you share more about Hope Excel? Because there's multiple facets to it.
Excel CDC is the umbrella company. Under Excel CDC, we have the Community Healing Resource Center. We have the Hope Excel School, which is Christian School, which is next door, and we have the Harrisonville Promise Church, which is next to that. They're all under the umbrella of the Excel Community Development Center. Hope Excel School actually is a school that starts in preschool to second grade, and then from there they are transferred from there to the Chicago Jesuit Academy, which is I can't do the exact distance. It's like from Jackson next to
5,000. I'm 5071, just right across the street from me on West Jackson, so it's like 50, 70.
Right next door to
Christ the King.
Christ the King.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So A lot of Philly kids, once they go through their secondary program here, they go right into Chicago Jesuit Catholic there. What is the no question anything else? That caught me off guard.
I think it'd be important to highlight that you all are being honored as well.
We are being honored. I believe it's coming up on the 28th of September. That's Saturday. We've been honored. I'd love to have you speak.
Yeah, we'd love to have you speak.
So I'm Shakia Houston. I'm over Social Work Sunday Tea. It's a mental health podcast. Sunday at 4 o'clock, I'm a mental health therapist. And so I created 4 years ago the Adult Prom and Fundraiser. So I find different organizations and I say, hey, I want to be a blessing. And so they're the 2024 recipient of the fundraiser. Last year was a house in Austin. The year before that was BBF, Building Brighter Futures. It used to be Better Boys Foundation. And then the first one was Wyman on Roosevelt and Pulaski. So I just kind of like find nonprofit organization. I'm a for-profit. It's just me, one band, one sound. But I just want to be a blessing to the community. And I'm from Austin. So my parents, I was born and raised on Sister and Gladys. And so I'm just here to serve the community. So that's about it. We're at the Sheridan Suites on here in Chicago next Saturday.
What's your sign? You like long walks on the beach? What's up?
Yeah, so I'm a Leo. But it's gonna be an amazing event. The tickets are still on sale. They're $135. Plated dinner, open bar, vendors. It's a big well-to-do, and I put my heart into it. This is my only event for the year. I work for 2 private practices as well, Mindful Behavior, and also Evolve Counseling and Coaching. And so I got 32 clients a week. And so on Thursday, it's rough out here. But I'm here to serve, so I'm a vessel. And that's who I am. So yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to share that folks should know?
As I said, what I actually push for everyone that we speak to, that it is, and I've said it is okay not to be, and have to talk to somebody. That goes a long way, it does.
Okay, copy that. Well, thank you all so much. So we're going to move into the next session. Now, this is essentially, either way, we were supposed to have a guest speaker from the Attorney General's office to talk about their role in the work that we do, but we could not lock them down. Unfortunately, they had to reschedule. And then we do what we like to call a above and beyond award, where we highlight an officer that does exceptional work in our community. And that individual had to reschedule as well.
It happens.
So what we would like to do, and to not take too much of you all's time, is just have a discussion around ShotSpotter. As my co-counselor mentioned, ShotSpotter, the contract itself has been slated to end Sunday at midnight, and there has been talk of what should happen. In fact, we are part of a decommission working group that the city convenes to have a conversation around it. I was in it yesterday, and to be honest, what it sounded like is that there is no other options at the moment in terms of replacement. They are thinking about other technologies that can be put in place, but this administration has really made it clear that they want to invest in people. And so with that, we were thinking of other ways in which that investment looks, including continued trauma training or more trauma training for the community, so that they could potentially be first responders. I will say that a lot of people kind of balked at that. They were like, well, there are people that get paid to do that. Not to say that they wouldn't want to help somebody in that situation, but at the same time, They also talked about violence interruption groups being useful in those type of situations. You know, hopefully more proactive than reactive, as policing typically tends to be. But there are those that also said they didn't really see that as a truly viable option, considering we have violence interruption groups and we still have a lot of violence. So that said, what we feel is that the community really didn't get an opportunity to voice their concerns or what they would like to see if ShotSpotter was to end, which again, it's supposed to slate to end, but our city council is saying that they don't want it to end. So what we've seen, I believe it was yesterday, was a vote taken, I think it was 33 to 14, that said that ShotSpotter will remain. It is, so we at this moment, we don't know, because the mayor has said that he was going to end it. I will also say that there were rumblings that the group which owns ShotSpotter, called SoundThink, the organization, made a last-ditch effort to keep it here by giving like a 50% discount on the cost. The cost of it is roughly about $9 million a year in that ballpark. And so once again, folks with the decommission working group and just those that are attached to this are trying to think of ways to spend that $9 million, whether it's technology, people, organizations, or groups, or what have you. So with that, just kind of giving a little groundwork and laying some groundwork and give you some information. What have you all had any interaction with the news cycle as it relates to ShotSpotter? Have any thoughts about ShotSpotter in general? Do you know what ShotSpotter is actually?
So I guess my first question is, how long is ShotSpotter? They haven't even been around that long, have they?
The organization SoundThink.
No.
The technology
Here in Chicago.
Here in Chicago, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it come like under Lightfoot, or I'm saying it's not like.
Wrong name,
Okay.
But
So I mean, it's, it's like, thinking that it's indispensable, but it hasn't really existed that long.
Right.
And so I guess what I've been hearing, what I've been reading is that is the mayor's criticism that this particular company, or is just the whole?
No, I think it's the
No, I think
technology.
it's the
period.
technology. From
Yeah.
what I've heard, it's like the mayor doesn't think that it's doing what it was intended to do.
Right.
On
Right.
top of it being so ridiculously expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
But then,
Well,
but then the
talking
city
about
council, you got 33 to 14, obviously the majority of them are thinking different. So I'm just not, I don't know,
Well, just let's forget that. What about you as a community member? What's your thoughts about it?
my thing is if it's not productive and it's costing us a lot of money, then we need to come up with something else. So is there data that supports that it has been productive in doing what it was intended to do?
So I'm gonna say this, so this whole conversation around ending ShotSpotter started with Lightfoot. That's when the campaign started to out ShotSpotter. And at that time, I was in communications with the folks behind that campaign saying, can we have, community doesn't know enough about the technology. Can we have a community meeting to have a conversation so we can at least know what it is, what it does? And they wanted to have a conversation, but I wanted to have the police department there as well, because when we met with Commander Parham, he kind of gave us some numbers, and he talked about how a lot of times there are shots fired and community members would not call 911, and so that ShotSpotter technology picks up those shots. They get to that location, there could be a wounded person there. Matter of fact, they have shown up in areas where someone is murdered, but there were no 911 calls, and so he was explaining that to us. And per Jason Urban, Commander Parham used the technology better than anyone else. But the folk who were on the campaign didn't want to be in the room with the police, or he said, then Commander Parham was like, well, I'll bring someone from the company in, and they didn't want to be in the room with them either. And I said, well, I'm not trying to have 3 meetings. I would like to have a meeting so the community members could be well informed. So there is data. I just don't think the department did a good enough job at explaining to us us what that, same thing, if you're saying that it's saving lives, well, then you should have an account of what that looks like and to be able to share the information. Because there was just something in the news recently, and that's where the push is coming from, the other side of it, because what they're saying is, they're not saying it prevents crime or gun shootings, it's just talking about the response to it, and that some of the response times on CPD side is shortened by 2 minutes, 3 minutes, when the shot spotter alerts go off. Sometimes it works, sometimes they don't. So city council is saying they wanna put it in Superintendent Snelling's hands, which superintendent is a proponent for it, he wants it.
Yeah.
But then they're saying, he may not wanna go against his boss,
Right.
that's the mayor,
Right.
try to use the
Right.
technology. So it's a lot, but I still feel like the community still does not know enough about the technology to say yay or nay. I would be willing to give it another year, let the community member understand what it is, how it works, after that year, see what it breaks down to, and if we absolutely positively know it doesn't work, there are no results, then oust it. But in the meantime, the city doesn't have anything else for us. So when you're in a community where all you hear every other day or every day is gunshots, you might wanna, I was on the fence about it. I was on the fence because I just need them. I hear gunshots almost every day. And I don't always call 911 because I don't, and somebody said because of the technology. I say no, because I don't know where it's coming from, for one.
Right.
For two, I'm trying to discern if it's firecrackers or
Right.
gunshot, because
Right.
now with
Right.
these switches, when they go off, they can sound like fireworks. And
Right.
sometimes it's not. It's them out here with a switch. And so it's like, it's complicated. But I'm still on the
so-
fence about the technology, and I wish they had did better about bringing the community into it before it was just put on the table to get rid of it. That they educated and did more awareness around it for us to be able, because it's affecting. We live in these communities where this is happening, and that's who's doing the most pushback. Is people, is communities where there is high rates of gun violence.
Right.
And at one point, they were
Yeah.
talking about giving it an option to see what wards wanted to keep it. But then, the mayor's like, well, who's gonna pay for it? So he made it very clear that he wants to do it. It's supposed to end on Sunday. And I don't know now with all the city hall action, I still don't know where it's gonna land. But we are planning to, I guess, to have a special meeting about it. If the city council does hold up the mayor's decision.
Because the mayor is
to-
saying that, whatever vote that they had, that he's saying that wasn't legal now, whether that's
Well,
legal or
yeah,
not,
that's what
I
I
don't
said.
know.
I
But
saw
I
that
guess
too.
I'm of the mindset that, why get rid of it if you don't have anything to replace it at the moment? Maybe it's another extension is needed, especially since they've now reduced the price 48%.
Yeah.
So if the cost has been reduced by 48%,
Yeah.
then why not in the interim expand it for whatever period of time until we can get something else that's proven, that we're ready to try out, or they can show that it's doing what they, expect it to do. So,
Right.
Yeah.
but it's like two sides now, and I don't know which side is
Yeah.
right, but we need something. If it's doing something,
Yeah.
if we can afford it with the 48% reduction, then keep it, and then they need to get on their butts and figure out what's gonna replace it.
Yes.
It's almost like Trump saying that, Obamacare is no good, but
So it's gonna replace it.
what you
Right.
gonna replace it with? I got a concept. Oh, well, concept is not gonna get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, that's what we were hopefully working on, but not a lot came from those meetings, unfortunately, because again, the decision was made, and we're to group of people that want to do well, but everybody has their own ideas of what that looks like. So, it was just meetings otherwise. But yeah, so as my colleague was saying, my co-counselor, ShotSpotter technology is essentially, it is microphones, and it triangulates and is able to cue in on those areas where guns are shot. Now, I actually went to the SDSC room, which is our information technology room in the police department, so that I was able to see, because they showed me how it looks when the shots go off, so you can see the little dots on the map, and then the camera itself zooms in on wherever that is. So they showed me that that's how it works in tandem with one another. So, and again, because we rarely get calls out when those things happen, officers are then dispatched to that area. So, you know, one of the issues that we face with it is because there could be firecrackers, because there could be machines or whatever the case going off, it could give it false positives. You know, I don't think officers are dispatched because, again, with the cameras there, you know, they're able to see. But still, that is one of the critiques of the technology. The other is the organization itself. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but there has been some issue with them. Other states, Houston, for example,
I heard that
got
today.
rid of them.
I heard he announced 4 or 5 different states
Yeah,
that have now gotten rid of.
yeah, yeah,
So what's the story behind that?
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's 5 Houston, I think it was San Antonio, and it was 3 or 4 other states.
And so to the point, they have not produced any tangible data that actually shows that with having this, you know, lives are saved.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
In fact, the reason why we're here is because a life was taken as a result. Young Adam Toledo, you know, was out 2 in the morning, behaving like he shouldn't have been, to be honest. You know what I mean? But when, yeah, and when he was pulled up on by officers, had a gun in his hand. When they asked him to put his hands up, he went to lift the gun up, and the officer shot him. And so that was a response to ShotSpotter. But what they kind of withhold is that at the time, allegedly, he and another person were actually shooting at passing cars, and nobody called the police. You know, and so in those type of situations, you know, how is
Did the shot spotter camera see them doing
I
that?
thought that's what it was. I thought that's why
We
the
didn't
police
have
came.
shot spotter then, that's what you're saying, right?
no, we
No,
had
no,
ShotSpotter.
That's why the
That's why the
police
police went.
That's why
They
went.
Oh,
responded to
oh.
it because of the shot
Oh,
spotter.
right,
Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I would be interested to know for the cities that got rid of ShotSpotter, one, was it the same company? And
Yeah,
two,
same,
yes,
same
it was the
company?
same
company.
Well, two, did they have something else to replace it with? That's my only thing, like,
Well,
if
the
you're gonna
reason
take
why
something
did they-
away,
Yeah.
you should have something to
Backup
put in its
plan,
place.
yeah.
So that's what I would be, you said Houston and where else?
I thought it was, in San Antonio, it was, that he mentioned it on, I heard on WGBM.
Yeah, I'd like to
News
do a little
radio.
research to see,
It's 5, at least 5 other, places
okay.
that they got rid
Hard
of,
to
so
see.
why? They didn't go into that detail, is because it wasn't being, fulfilling the needs? Or is it because they were price gouging? Because it's interesting that all of a sudden now they reduced the price by 48%. Why
Why
now?
couldn't be there in the beginning?
I know, that was my question, why now, when we're about to get rid of you, you wanna reduce the price to by 48%?
I thought they actually, I mean, I can't remember what they are. Don't they already have some statistics about ShotSpotter? You can't just.
Well, they do, it's not clear, cause it's not clear to me,
Yeah.
you know, if it's doing what it was intended to do.
Pick up
According to the
money.
mayor, it's not.
Right, that's what,
But
that's
according
what I'm saying. They
to
were
city
saying
council,
something about 1 every 1,000, or I can't remember what it was. I wasn't experiencing it. But
Yeah.
they do seem to have some statistics about ShotSpotter.
Yeah, I mean, both sides have statistics, right? It's a matter of which statistic, who's doing the
Yeah.
data collection,
Right.
and which side is truly accurate. Cause CPD has their side, and then, you know, ShotSpotter have their side, or should I say the anti-ShotSpotter people have their statistics and data. So that's why it would've been good to have a meeting with everybody in the room, so that way we can dispel all the myths, all the cards are on the
Right,
table, we
right.
can hear both sides.
Yeah.
So we get to determine for ourselves, like, yay, nay. opportunity. I wish it had been put on a referendum during the last election, to let community members decide if we should keep it or not. But I don't be wanting to hear nothing about no money, cause we waste a whole lot of money on stuff, and we find a whole lot of money for stuff, so I ain't trying to hear that part.
Mr. Lloyd, you wanna say something?
I think, you know, if you just look at all of the evidence and argue both sides, there's some pluses for having it
Yeah, right.
and not.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're if you know the art of negotiation and they're bringing it down to 50%, you could, that's not their final offer. You just keep it and negotiate it even lower than that, and still use the technology to help us, because we need the technology. In that instance where that person died, it was a help, but to his detriment, and to ours. But who would have known? But the technology helped us in that instance,
Right.
and technology is supposed to help us.
Yes.
I mean, we use technology all the time.
Yeah. I will also say this. So I work for the policing project in NYU School of Law, and we actually have a tech team, and we talk a lot about tech-related policing measures. Most of it is biased, to be completely honest. Automatic license plate readers, AI face scanning software, robots are being used. ShotSpotter is another one, right? Some folks look at it because most of those cameras are in our communities, and we're not certain exactly what is being captured. What if they're recording conversations, right? What if when they start to enhance it in whatever way, you know, it becomes a different type of tool. And so sometimes we have to be looking in a lens of with a future focus too, as it relates to this technology and its actual utility for a community that is already feeling, you know, the brunt of racial inequalities and other types of disparities. So that's the thing too. And again, that's what we talk about internally at the policing project, because we talk about policing technologies all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, we need technology, it's just a matter, is that the technology that we need?
Right.
And we need something.
Yeah, I agree. I
Just
agree.
can't-
Which is interesting, because the way business works, you would have thought somebody would have popped up a long time. I got the answer.
Yeah, right.
For real.
Cause all it takes is one person to be doing it and somebody else start
For
working
sure,
on
for
enhancing
sure.
it to.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. I know did anyone else want to chime in? Okay. All right. So we're gonna move to the next few pieces of our meeting, which is essentially at its end.
But wait,
We have.
before we move, just real quick though, if we are still in this kind of predicament between whether they gonna fight the mayor about it or whatever, do we think it warrants us having a larger community meeting? If it's still stalemate and stuff and up and running and all that good stuff, do we think it warrants us having a meeting about shop? Especially if it will be kept, we still need more information.
I think that's what we need more information about.
That's what I was gonna say. We gotta have more information. That's what it is. Yeah.
We speculating.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's the only thing. If we have a larger conversation, we have to come with the reason why these other cities have abandoned it. We have to come with the data that suggests that it is effective and ineffective.
Right.
We also have to come with replacements and or just solutions in general for the monies that will be spent. And if you can give people those things,
Yes.
then we can actually have a real conversation.
Yes.
Otherwise, we're just essentially speculating. So if we can do that, then I'm with it. But otherwise, I'm like, we'll just be talking about it and we wouldn't get anywhere.
Just talking, like this, I have to compare to say, why did you oppose it?
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, so I'm saying, it's.
Well,
I think money was his.
He said it's not effective and.
It's just
and
right, there you go.
cost.
It's not
But he
effective, yeah,
doesn't give
pretty
any
much.
specifics on Why are you saying it's ineffective?
I mean, I guess I was thinking he gave specifics when he wanted to cancel it before, and we just let it
It's
go off
good to
because
say.
of the DNC, it's like, oh, I always take the fair, you know, but he's never been in favor of it from, I think, even when he campaigned, so I'm guessing.
Yeah, he campaigned on getting rid of it, yeah. Yeah.
It's good to say why something is not working,
Right, I agree.
but that's not enough.
Right, it's not.
Right,
It's not
No,
enough.
it's not.
I mean,
That's-
it doesn't work here,
that's in
but,
his
so
work.
what do you suggest,
Right.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
Right,
That does work and that has a proven track record.
Right.
they don't
Because
have
every
that
city
yet.
could decide
No.
whether they wanna keep it or not.
That's what's missing now,
Yeah.
and that's what, to his
Yeah.
point, is like, to really have a good
But,
conversation.
you know, to his credit, if money were an issue, that's not, what's the name of that company?
Sound thing.
Sound